The 2009-2010 men's track and field season was a successful one for North Central. There's 3 championship trophies at Murner Fieldhouse that prove that. But that was then, this is now. And the Cardinals are hoping to make this season another one for the record books. You can hear all about it right here. The Cardinal Report starts right now. Welcome to the 3rd episode of the 2011 edition of the Cardinal Report. I'm Alex Simmons. This week we're joined by the North Central men's track and field team and head coach Frank Gramarosso. Coach, thanks for coming by. Well, we look at the 2011 version of your team, and you guys have been solid in your first 2 events. I think it's safe to say results have been kind of eye-popping. We were kind of discussing quite a few national qualifiers, 2 really big margins of victory. Just tell about the start you guys had.
We had a tremendous start, and I think we owe a lot of it to the new facility that was built. I mean, not too long ago, we had 100 guys and maybe 60 women and women's basketball, and we couldn't practice every event every day. Well, now we have the beautiful rec center where every coach can really plan out their schedule without basketball schedule and running day or a field event day. We really are blessed with being able to have a true track and field practice with all the different events going on at the same time, and I think it's paying off in early season performances.
And I know that you've been here at the college for nearly 30 years, but last summer you took on the head coaching position of the track program, and kind of what has that transition been like? Has it been much of one?
It's, I've been doing the same thing for quite a long time. Coach Karras and I work great together, and I've been administrating both the cross country and track program for years anyway, but it was a nice recognition and honor for me, and our distance program has grown so much, with over 40 distance runners, that Coach Karras wants to, have all his time with the distance runners. And, as a head coach, you want to get to the other areas. And, I'm the head coach for all the coaches, so not only the athletes, but they need to come to me with their needs and their concerns. And sometimes that takes away from coaching your own group. And I think Coach Karras just felt that's the biggest group on the team is the distance runners. And, he wanted to focus much more time with them. And so there's not a lot of change, but administratively it is making sure now as head coach that all the other coaches' needs are met and the athletes in those groups, get what they need to do to perform at their top level.
Definitely, and we talked about, this program has over 100 athletes. So you're overseeing a lot of people, a lot of coaches. I know in football sometimes it seems like the head coach has to take kind of a CEO approach. Is that kind of what you're dealing with as well?
Yeah, it sure is. That was Coach Karras' dream 28 or so years ago when he brought me on board, is he wanted to use the football paradigm that there's different coaches, position coaches. Okay. And, we have it in Division III, there's no limit on coaches, whereas your major universities, your Division I programs can only have 3 coaches.
Sounds like strength in numbers. Well, the Cardinals took to the Albee Carius track last weekend for the Cardinal opener. We were there as well. Let's take a look at the highlight. The North Central track team and 6 other schools are taking to the Albee Carius track at the Res Rec for the Cardinal opener. We start at the high jump mat. Zach Heerspink has his eyes on the meet title. He needs to clear 2.06 meters. He does just that, and he's pretty excited. Not only does he win, but he provisionally qualifies for nationals. We go from one mat to another in the Cardinal pole vaulters, who are trying to repeat their success from last season. Thomas Stacy, John Wood, and Josh Winder finished 3-2-1 for the dominant pole vaulting team. Peter Garrity came in 4th place. Garrity, Stacy, and Wood are provisional qualifiers for nationals. Josh Winder is an automatic. We stick with the field events and go to the weight throw. Robert Kapuska's main competitors are the Titans of UW Oshkosh. Titans Ben Ludke and Lewis Pryor both hit 59 feet 9.5 inches in the finals. That would take 2nd and 3rd, but they couldn't top Kapuska. His second throw hit 61 9.75 for the win. He's an automatic qualifier. He's pretty happy about it. Now we go to the track part of track and field. Dan Benton trying to bring home the 400-meter crown. He leads after the first lap. John Caron and Randall Ellison are right behind him. Coming down the home stretch, Benton takes home the title at 49.54. Cairns in 4th, Ellison is in 6th. Benton's not done yet. Now he's in the 200 meters. Halfway through, he's in 3rd place. But coming around that last turn, he pulls out the victory with a 22.45. Not bad for a guy coming back from a leg injury. The Cardinal track and field team is back at home next week at the Al B. Carius track for the Cardinal Quad. Coach, some real good competition at that event. You know, UIC is a D1 school, Oshkosh right behind you guys in the national polls. How do you guys kind of approach these events where it's still early in the season, some guys could still be battling some rust, but at the same time you do have this tough competition and these guys maybe do want to put on a show for the home fans?
Yeah, I think, you know, again, I remember last year I was concerned that our sprint group, which I oversee in the wintertime, that we were training really hard. And the comment was, Coach, it's easy to run fast. You know, you compare old Murner Fieldhouse to the new 200-meter track, and we train in lane 5. And I think that's all across the board. Every event has better training and more time to do that. But this is the first time we beat Oshkosh in an invitational in a couple years, and a tribute to the athletes from last year who are continuing into another season this year and really putting some things together. It was a great meet, but we look long range. You know, we're looking at the indoor conference and indoor nationals, and then long range to the outdoor season. So to have these great performances early, you still want to continue in the process, and that's kind of what our team motto or slogan this year is. It's all about the process. You know, what do you have to do on a daily basis to be where you want to be at the end of the year?
Definitely, and we've alluded to it already. You know, 2 years ago, you guys hosted 0 home meets. This year it's up to 5 in the indoor season because of the new facility. How much has that played into recruiting once you guys are talking to new athletes, that you kind of have this crown jewel you can point to and say, you know, you come in right away, you're going to be training in this facility every day? Yeah,
it's the last piece of the puzzle that we talk about. You know, we haven't had this indoor facility. We have, you know, we won 5 national championships in track and field in Murner Fieldhouse using that facility. So, but this is a great advantage, and like we said, the last piece was getting a NCAA legal facility to have home meets and to get the proper training, and certainly recruits just love it when they walk in there, and that's an addition that I think will, you know, oversell some of the other programs out there.
No doubt about it. Well, as we saw earlier, the Cardinals started the home season the right way at the Cardinal Opener. And returning back to the track as the reigning national champions, the Cardinals have one thing on their mind: repeating. That's the subject of this week's What's the Word?
And just having that status as indoor national champions, outdoor national champions, coming in this season with as much depth as we have, it's just awesome. It's a great feeling to have.
I've never been a part of a team that has done so well and been so together and had so much unity, that I think the reason why I enjoy it so much is just because it just draws us even closer, and the more success that we have, the closer we get, and the closer we get, the more success that we have, and it just keeps building on itself.
It's like an overall good feeling, but there is definitely a target, so I think that makes everyone work even harder to try to get better, because we have to defend it.
Last week we had like 5 or 6 provosts, and today we'll probably improve on that as well with our distance guys, our 4x4 pole vaulters, everyone else, all our jumpers. So it's looking good.
So, Coach, obviously, you know, coming off a very successful year, how do you keep these guys hungry here in 2011?
Well, that's the challenge of the coaching staff, to try to work in each event group and bring each individual of that event along, and taking each step along the way in all these meets that we have to a common goal. The goal of the coach, the goal of the athlete, the goal of the team, and try to match what you've done maybe a little bit better this time. So we point towards the indoor conference and the indoor national team as team goals. But, you know, it's difficult. Track is an individual sport, and then you have all these event areas, jumpers, throwers, sprinters, distance runners, and trying to get everybody on the same page for the same meet is a task. But we've been very successful at it, and I guarantee we're going to continue to be as successful. You may not always win, as we saw in cross country. We had a whole new team this year, and we got second in the country, and that was great for them. Same thing in track and field. We're returning national champions. We do have a lot of qualifiers so far. I expect that we're going to get more, but we just have to do what North Central can do, and then the points will line up, you know, at the meet.
And you talked about how the distance runner is kind of the biggest part of that group, and they did get second at cross country nationals. You think that'll motivate those guys a little bit more, thinking, maybe we did miss out on the gold in the fall, we're going to try to follow it up here soon?
Sure. Everybody has, a little different motivational tactic that they might use, but certainly, each group tries to hold its own and then bring them all together. And certainly with Mike Spain already qualified, and Neil Klein's never been a factor in indoor track, and all of a sudden he's a national qualifier. So I think it sparked him a little bit, and we do have to fill in some middle distance groups from the distance runners. So I expect a few more to step up in that area too.
Well, speaking of repeating, we'll have two returning All-Americans coming on the set just after this short break.